Good morning. I'm about to play some dialogue to you from our conference call with the judge. We had a preliminary hearing, phone call preliminary hearing last Friday with the judge and Sundance Active Adult and their lawyer. So Carolyn was present. I don't know if she was sitting next to the lawyer or she was linked in by a telephone, but the lawyer said she was present and she listened. I'm making this video right now, and I'm using this dialogue that you're about to hear as evidence that for some reason I'm not being sued by the plaintiff's lawyer for the $100 a day fine that started a year and a half ago. I've got a 1-2 punch coming from a board of directors. These board of directors in an HOA are your fellow community members. But they've elevated themselves to the point where they can go into executive session. They have a code of conduct now that they didn't have 10 or 15 years ago when you ran for the board. Now when you run for the board, you have to sign a loyalty pledge, a code of conduct, that nothing that happens inside of an executive session will ever get out. It's a secret society of your members, of your neighbors who have decided that they must have thought that I was in the Capitol building or something like that. It feels like, but I'm being charged $100 a day. I'm up to nearly $60,000 that gets added to my invoice for my dues. Every time I get a dues bill, that goes up. In that 3 months, it goes up $700 a week. I'm up to $60,000 now. I spent of a lot of money, a lot of time. I've exhausted a lot of anxiety and distress over this lien. It's a lien. When you put a fine against my property, it's a lien against my property. I can't sell the house right now. I've talked to the realtor that sold my first house about 10 years ago, told me he doesn't even want to come near this house until I get this fine situation out of the way with the HOA, because they're not going to let the sale go through until I pay this fine. This fine was put on to me just before they had an election coming up. I ran for the board twice. In the running for the board twice, I've indicated twice that track day is out of compliance, and if I ever get elected, the first thing I'm going to do is return it back to the membership. It isn't going to be an entitlement for the people who live on each side of it, as it has been now for years. Okay? It's redlined. It's taken out of service. All right? It was stolen fair and square. It was looted. It has people living on each side of it who are from the Midwest and don't believe that they should have to share an urban. This is an urban model we live in. And these people want to bring their farm with them. So listen to this, because the lawyer is about to tell the judge that there's no $60,000 lien. That all this paperwork, all these phone calls, all these invoices that I've been getting and not getting, and with the running figure now, the last invoice I think was $55,000 lien against my house. I want you to hear the lawyer tell the judge that there's no lien against my house.
Understand, please, though, that Arizona law, when a party is asking for injunctive relief, the court is obliged to get something set quickly. This is setting it further out than I normally would, but it's because just that's the nature of how full my calendar is, and
Well, I want to make the statement, I disagree. I disagree. I've got a $60,000 lien against my house right now, and it's not mentioned in any of these filings. This filing wants to sue me $1,000 a day on top of being sued, and I...
Your Honor, there is no $60,000 lien.
Well, and I
Oh, I can't. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because when I show up in court with all the invoices, with all the $100 a day liens on it, they're not talking to you. Okay, there it is. He's supposed to have intimate knowledge of my account. Caroline Clinton, every time I call her, even though I have a contract with the HOA, I paid dues to the HOA, she is supposed to represent me. All she's representing is the status quo of Tract A and the wants and desires of the people who built this 20 years ago, who took Tract A out of service. All right? I'm a whistleblower. Okay? I blew the whistle on Tract A about 12 years ago. It was because of me that Craig Hustis went to Woody Scouten, and Woody Scouten wrote up Tract A as being non-compliant, that it didn't drain. And ever since then, I've had nothing but trouble with the HOA. I've run for the board twice. And the last time I ran for the board, I was kicked out of the HOA. Now there's an oxymoron. I'm kicked out of the HOA, my key card is canceled, but I can run for the board. And when I ran for the board, they made it so difficult for me. They treated me like a child in the meet and greet. I was treated like a remedial child by Don Bassler about 4 years ago in a meet and greet night. But there it is. The lawyer is telling the judge that I don't have a $60,000 lien against my house. I do. Now I'm going to stop right here. This is as short as I can make the video. All right. Thank you very much for listening. Okay.